Hi Aquarius, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your May 2026 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a 12-card spread with each card representing a different house of the zodiac. Starting with your sign, Aquarius, representing the first house, all the way through to Capricorn, representing the 12th. And once we get through all that, we'll pull an oracle card as well for some additional insight. As far as the main decks being used this month for the main tarot, we have the Brady Tarot, and for the Oracle deck, we'll be using the Wisdom of the Oracle. But we're actually going to start the reading off of Rolling Those Astrology Dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. Alright, so we have 12. 12th house energy for you guys is Capricorn, and astrologically speaking, pretty quiet there right now, but in general, 12th house points to spirituality, blind spots, and mental health. Alright, we have Aquarius. Sagittarius. So for you guys, Sagittarius is your 11th house of friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes. And as far as astrologically speaking, at the very end of May, there's going to be a full moon in Sagittarius. So you might see that energy come up to the surface more prominently right at the end of May. And we have the sun. So, of course, currently we have the sun in Taurus, and for you guys, Taurus is your 4th house of home, roots, and family, and then around the 20th of May, it'll actually be moving into Gemini, which is your 5th house of romance, creativity, children. So we'll keep all that in mind as we go through the main spread. Alright, so representing the 1st house, which in general points to possession, self-awareness, and appearance, we have strength. So this is actually the equivalent of the 8 of Wands in traditional tarot. Sagittarius energy right here. So interesting, we saw the Sagittarius come up with the dice, and we also see it representing your 1st house here. But yeah, to see this here, obviously to me this looks like an energy of feeling energized, right? Maybe even re-energized for those of you if you've been feeling like the energy's been lacking a bit lately. The main thing we have going down in your sign this month of May will be we'll have the retrograde of Pluto on the 6th of May. So, one thing that people sleep on sometimes when it comes to retrogrades is actually the planet is technically closer to Earth, so it could actually intensify some of that energy at times. So that could be part of what is fueling this energy for you guys this month. Alright, so 2nd house, which in general points to possession, self-worth, and finances, we have success. So this is the 2 of Feathers, which is the equivalent of the 2 of Wands, which is Aries energy. So yeah, so to see this here, it could just be saying that maybe you've started something new when it comes to your finances, and if that's the case, it seems like it's already off to a good start, or at least you'll see evidence of that as we progress through the month. Alright, so for your 3rd house of communication, we have preservation. So this is the 4 of Roots. Traditionally, it would be the 4 of Pentacles. And seeing this in your 3rd house communication, could just be saying that you're a little bit more withdrawn this month when it comes to communication, right? Maybe you're keeping to yourselves a little bit more, just more in a deeper reflective mode when it comes to your thinking, to where, even if you do want to communicate something, if you don't feel like you fully wrapped your mind around what you want to say yet, you might just withdraw until you figure out how you want to do so. And part of this could just be due to the fact that we have Saturn transiting through your 3rd house of communication now, so it could just be one of those things where it is giving you that extra energy to think things through. Like, okay, before I just say something, before it's, when it's half thought out, let me just really figure out the best way to convey the message and then come forward. So like we mentioned, we saw the sun energy come up with the dice, and currently the sun is in your 4th house. And to go along with that, for the card representing your 4th house, we have joy. This is the equivalent of the Ace of Cups in traditional tarot. So definitely good energy to see here. So this could be feeding off of, or, maybe they're feeding off of each other, these 3rd and 4th house energies, where you might just feel more content within your home environments this month, to where, that is going to be where you're able to clear your minds most, where you feel most at peace, right? Where your ideas start flowing. But that's what I'm seeing with that. But, 4th house could also point to family as well. So maybe this is saying that you could see some improvement with family ties this month as well. And as we mentioned, eventually the sun will move into your fifth house on the 20th of May. And for your card representing the fifth house, we have departure. So this is the equivalent of the Eight of Cups. So yeah, so for some of you, this could just be saying that maybe when it comes to a creative venture, for example, you might decide to leave it behind, possibly because you might figure, maybe financially it just doesn't make as much sense now as might have when you first thought the idea up. For others of you, this could just be saying also, let's say around fifth house could also point to romance too. So maybe you're deciding to leave a connection behind because maybe you feel like it wasn't going to get to the level that you ultimately would have wanted to go in the long term. All right, so for your sixth house, which in general points to health, work, and daily routines, we have conflict. So this is basically the Nine of Feathers, which is a Nine of Wands energy, which interestingly enough is more Sagittarius energy. So at the very least, given the Sagittarius theme we're seeing recurring in this reading so far, rather, it could just be saying maybe watch out for that full moon in particular, for where there could be room for misunderstandings when it comes to communications. But yeah, in this context, it would be more so in the work environment too. So just something to watch out for there. But overall, what always does stand out to me with the nine energy when it comes to the Nine of Wands, or Feathers as it's called in this deck, is usually there's an energy of resilience there too, right? So even if you're not looking for the conflict, doubtful you are, right? This also says that you're well equipped to deal with it as well. So that's the more positive side of things. All right. In the seventh house, which points to partnerships and contracts and relationships while we're at it, we have the Daughter of Roots. So this is really the equivalent of the Page of Pentacles. So this could be coinciding with the fifth house energy we saw, where, like I said, maybe you're walking away from a connection that you felt wasn't going to reach the level of depth that you would have ultimately liked it to have. And this year could just be saying because maybe your mentality shifting to where you would like something deeper, right? So maybe that connection met the need at a certain point, but now you might find that your needs are shifting to where you would like something deeper, and now that's where you're shifting your focus as far as seeking that out goes. All right, so for the eighth house, which in general points to death, rebirth, intimacy, even investments, we have the Daughter of Horns. So this would be the Page of Cups equivalent, basically. So to see this here, yeah, this could just be saying that maybe there is some shifting around that area. So given we were just talking about fifth house, seventh house, it could be around intimacy, right, where maybe there's a desire for you to engage with someone in that way. If not that, could just be saying really if it comes to investments, right? So, for example, if you have a new start when it comes to your finances and you're experiencing some success there, maybe that's making you think, okay, maybe I should invest some of this stuff. These can just be energies that you'll be exploring this month. All right, so for the ninth house, which in general points to philosophy, higher learning, and foreign affairs, we have anguish. So it's an interesting one here. This is the equivalent of the Nine of Swords, basically. To see this here could just be saying that, yeah, maybe you've been reconsidering some of your beliefs, right? So, I mean, we talked about the preservation, where, like I said, maybe you're a little bit more withdrawn when it comes to your communication this month. And then, like we talked about, maybe changing what you're looking for when we see those fifth house and seventh house energies that we spoke through, right? There could be this theme of change that you guys are going through, and maybe on the one hand it is refreshing, right, with the strength energy we see there, but at the other end of the stick it could be a little bit overwhelming at times too, right, where you're starting to second guess, like, okay, maybe it's too much change coming through too quickly for you guys. Another thing to keep in mind too is that your ruler is Uranus, of course, and it's been in Taurus for so long, which could be a tricky energy, right? It doesn't necessarily like being in Earth energy, and then also that was your fourth house too on top of that, whereas now it's moving to your fifth house, so that could be causing some shifts as far as all that goes too, but it should be a more comfortable energy in the long run. It could just be in the moment, you just might feel a little bit overwhelmed by it. All right, so for your 10th house energy, which typically points to career and social status, we have fulfillment. So there's the artwork for that, and this is really the equivalent of the Nine of Cups. So to me, this says especially this is a good indicator because we see the positive energy in the second house, which is financially related. 10th house seeing fulfillment, another financially related house for the most part, and then to see conflict in the 6th house, which is another financially related house. To me, says that these two working together to me is an indicator that yeah, even if there is something like that, it would be more of a minor thing and not something that's gonna have a ripple effect in the long term. But yeah, seeing this here could just be saying that when it does come to your careers, maybe you are finding a certain sense of fulfillment, or at the very least, finding yourselves moving toward a path where you would be fulfilled. All right, so for your 11th house energy, which generally points to friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes, we have inspiration. This is really the Ace of Feathers, which would typically be the Ace of Wands. So yeah, to see this energy here could just be saying that as you interact with friends, right? Maybe you're going to come up with some good ideas and things you want to take on, maybe some shifts that you want to make. And again, this is making me think of as well, like we said, there will be that full moon toward the very end of May. So maybe you'll start to feel that inspiration kick in more toward the end of May. But either way, looks like it will be coming your way. And lastly, for your 12th house, which we saw with the dice as well, we have equilibrium. So this is really the Two of Roots, which is the equivalent to the Two of Pentacles in traditional tarot. So yeah, so to see this here, of course, with the traditional artwork for the Two of Pentacles, we see someone who's really looking like they're trying to juggle between two options here. Much different energy, right, where it says equilibrium. So to me, I feel like this is saying that rather than either or, you're going to find a way to incorporate two things that might seem not diametrically opposed, but they might not seem compatible with each other. But yet, I feel like this is saying you'll be figuring out a way to actually make the two things work within your life to where you don't need to leave either behind, which is a good thing. And this could just be saying maybe if you've been feeling a little bit disrupted when it comes to your thought processes, right? Like we said, with the anguish in the 9th house energy, you could just be saying that you'll be feeling that coming to an end as well. All right, and bottom of the deck we have optimism. So this is the Four of Feathers, which is really Four of Wands equivalent, Aries energy here. So yeah, so even though you are going to be more withdrawn when it comes to communication, the more I'm seeing this now, combined with this and what we were talking about with the 11th house, like this is saying earlier in the month, you might be a little bit more withdrawn when it comes to communication. Whereas as the month progresses, I feel like you actually be speaking with others and they could actually light a fire in you, through a conversation. Maybe not even intending to do so. It could just be something they casually say that lights that spark in you and actually changes your trajectory in some way, but in a positive way. All right, so lastly, we'll see what the Oracle card adds to the mix. So like I mentioned, we're going to pull a card from the Wisdom Oracle deck. I'm just going to give this deck a few more shuffles, and then we'll cut the deck and pull a card. Oop, and I dropped some cards. Hold on. Ooh, fun times. All right. Thought it was more. It was just that one, but we'll still pull a card too. So let me give it another shuffle. Okay. So let me get this out of the way for a second, and then we'll cut the deck. Pull this card as well. We'll take a look at that come to the edge one first, since it obviously wanted to come out, and then we'll see what the second card is. So let me get over. Okay. So come to the edge. There's the artwork. Kind of gives me the feel of the Fool card traditionally, but we'll see what it says. All right, essential meanings. It says courage, taking a leap of faith, overcoming fear, and accepting risk. The Oracle's message: facing the unknown is the only choice you really have right now if you want to progress. It's okay to be afraid. Now is the time to take a risk that is not calculated, to feel the exhilaration as you ready yourself for a leap of faith. Spirit is present, so let go of fear. You are called to express your true self. Listen to your heart and soul, not your head. Come to the edge and discover that you can fly. You must step into the unfamiliar so that you may find your miracles. So yeah, definitely an interesting message there, because that makes me think of what we were seeing with the departure energy in the fifth house, right? And then the daughter of roots, which is a bit of a fresher energy. But maybe there's going to be some stress around making any kind of moves, though, given that we saw the anguish energy in the ninth house. But having the strength card in the first house is a pretty good indicator that you'll be able to make the moves you need to make, though. The relationship message says it's scary to be truly intimate with someone, to allow him or her to see all of you, especially the parts of you you've kept hidden and protected. Now is the time to take that risk and let yourself be seen, truly seen. It's important that you speak up, voice what you need, state who you are, say what you hope for. This is not the time to play it safe, but to take a leap of faith. You will be glad you did. If you're seeking a relationship, the same applies. Take one step toward the gods and they will deliver what you truly desire. So another interesting one there, right? Because that last sentence could just be saying that if you do walk away from something because you do feel that it's ultimately not fulfilling, it could just be saying that that could be what actually lights that spark to bring more of a connection that you are looking for into your lives at that time. And the prosperity message says, if ever there was a time for you to take a leap of faith into the unknown, it is now. This is the perfect moment to take a big risk. The unknown is the only choice now, and if you come to the edge, you will discover treasure beyond your wildest dreams. Allow your courage to lead you in spite of your fears. You don't need to know the exact form of what you're going for. The essence is much more powerful, and Spirit has a way of delivering an even better version of prosperity than you could imagine. Take that step. The results will be amazing. So yeah, that's definitely a strong message too, given that we do see the fulfillment energy in the 10th house, and that's related to prosperity. And let's see what the other one is. All right, we have orphaned. There's the artwork. The number is 5 for this one, so see what this has to say. Although, interestingly enough, seeing the 5 and then seeing departure in the 5th house energy, right? Could just be saying that, yeah, if you have been feeling a little bit orphaned, if you will, in some way, could just be saying that that could be what's causing you to leave some connections behind at this time. But we'll see what it mentions in the book. All right. Essential Meanings says a sense of loss, an identity crisis, recognizing that you don't fit in, the need to belong, uncertainty about your place. The Oracle's message: we were all meant to have connections with other people, within our family, society, and the larger culture. No man is an island. It is important to recognize when being a part of, rather than separate from, is essential to your well-being. The issue at hand is the need to find where you fit. Be true to your core truths and values. Perhaps you no longer identify with a group or community the way you did before, and need to find a new situation. You might be feeling a deep sense of loss or confusion. Address the need for belonging and know that you will find your place with others of like mind and spirit. It's okay to let go of the pressure to fit in. Not everyone will understand you. It's time to move on. So yeah, so reading that message there was interesting, right? Because generally speaking, when we just think of the Aquarius archetype, right, there's not necessarily a lot of a worry about fitting in, right? Almost more comfortable not feeling like you fit in at times, but hopefully that message resonated with you. The relationship message says, as you shift and evolve and commit to your own growth, you long for support, but may be disappointed and hurt by others who are not providing what you feel you deserve. Perhaps you are drifting away from this relationship because you're in a different stage of personal growth. Perhaps you are in a new relationship and discovering that you don't share the same values and beliefs, so you feel left out, unable to get to that intimate place of safety and belonging. Take heart, as Spirit knows you and loves you, and will steer you in the direction of those who accept you as you are without artifice or agenda. Don't compromise yourself to belong. It won't be worth the price. So yeah, so I like that message too, because it seems to be more about finding and reconnecting with yourselves, right? And then that makes me think of maybe that's what that anguish thing has been about, right? Where maybe you've been questioning your beliefs for a while, but maybe now you could be coming back to center, right? And realizing that you're just going to continue to look for those who do share your beliefs. And the prosperity message says this card reminds you that you can't be all things to all people. You are not going to be popular with everyone, and it has to be okay with you. Be clear about your mission, your brand, your work persona, and your contribution to the world, as these must be based on what you authentically have to offer, not something you think will sell or you perceive they may want. You will attract abundance in being completely yourself. Stay in your own lane. That's where your will to shine, and that's where you will shine, and where you'll experience prosperity. So yeah, that definitely seems to align with the fulfillment energy that we see in the 10th house too. But yeah, that seemed to be a pretty good message about authenticity there, which is definitely where you guys tend to be more comfortable anyway in the long run, right? So maybe you just found yourselves off that path for a bit, and you're reconnecting with it now. But hopefully all of that resonated with you guys, and we'll wrap up there. All right, bye.